Hi, I'm Ruth Duerr with the Ronan Institute. I'm working on a NASA project to improve discovery of data across NASA's Science Mission Directorate, or SMD for short. Kaylin Bugbee from the Marshall Space Flight Center is a team lead, and you can see the names of other team members on this slide. SMD has several divisions, including Astrophysics, Planetary Science, Heliophysics, Earth Science, and Biology and Physical Sciences. Historically, each division has developed their own data systems to suit their own needs. As you might expect, this has led to a variety of vastly different systems. Their new data management and computing strategy, however, calls for cross-divisional data discovery as well as development of a cross-divisional community of practice. I am working on the information model for the data discovery bit. Mark Parsons, who many of you know, is coordinating the community of practice bit. I only talk about the data discovery component in the rest of this video. So, how are we developing this cross-disciplinary data discovery capability? Well, we are using the Peter Fox and Deborah McGinnis methodology. In fact, up until his very untimely death, Peter was actively leading the information modeling part of this project. We've solicited cross-disciplinary use cases from the community and have selected 2 for our initial prototyping efforts. For each use case, we expect to hold workshops with experts in each of the disciplines represented, along with people with a variety of technical skills. I'll talk more about the workshops later. In the meantime, I was tasked with analyzing the various data systems that each division has and extracting their data models. Based on these models, the core team came up with a high-level conceptual information model, which is an eye chart. But the most important bits are in the top row. Everything below that are supporting concepts of various kinds. I talk about that top row in the next 2 slides. These are the core concepts by which the SMD operates. The leftmost diagram shows how experimental science, like all the plant-growing experiments on the International Space Station, and observational science, like all the instruments on NASA satellites, rovers, observatories, etc., are related to NASA missions and platforms. The middle diagram shows how instrument operations lead to observations and measurements. This includes operating experimental apparatus, conducting assays, and managing factors such as CO2 concentration that are in the investigator's control. The rightmost diagram shows how various products and services provide access to products containing those observations, measurements, and related information. The remaining top row diagrams relate to how discovery interfaces can be used to find products and services. In this model, data discovery criteria get you directly to the data landing page, while information discovery criteria get you to something else. Perhaps a page about the mission or instrument you search for, which may in turn lead you to a data landing page after some number of hops. Meanwhile, if you actually want to access the data, selection parameters specify exactly what to return. Strangely, most of the current SMD search and discovery interfaces combine both data and information discovery criteria, along with selection parameters, into a single interface without distinguishing between them. This may help explain why users are sometimes disappointed with systems which they expect to lead directly to data, which often don't. Meanwhile, you might be wondering how we've been determining what criterion and parameters exist. Well, I've been creating a series of concept maps for each of the major interfaces for each NASA division. There are lots of them. These maps use the terminology in use within those interfaces. Based on what happens when a criterion is selected, it is usually pretty simple to determine whether it is a data discovery criterion, an information discovery criterion, or a selection parameter, or something else. In addition, I've been capturing the terminological differences between interfaces and divisions in a series of diagrams. For example, this diagram shows part of the wide range of spatial coordinate systems and reference frames in use across SMD. As you might expect, there are many of each of these kinds of diagrams. The nice thing about them is that they can be exported to other tools such as Protégé. But back to the methodology and our progress to date. As I mentioned earlier, we selected 2 use cases and have progressed through creating prototypes for the first of these, the rad bio use case. One thing that the use case made obvious was the need to support terms for phenomena such as aurora oval. We don't want the new system to have the same problems the current systems do. For example, despite all the data NASA has about the aurora, there really isn't a way for someone to ask for aurora data and get any from NASA. In any case, that is where this project's at. Any questions?